I've talked about Portland for the last 2 weeks in the pod. I have nothing else to add on them other than I love that Dame Lillard is one of the last ties to the 70s and 80s. This guy who has really kind of pissy relationships with other stars. He's like the one outlier. He really doesn't like Westbrook. Like, you could feel it in these
Why
games.
should he? Why should he? Westbrook disses
Westbrook's
him
a
all the
fucking
time
dick to
in
him.
games.
Yeah.
In games, he's always been an asshole.
And then this Paul George Beverly thing and the little aftermath of that was kind of unbelievable. With those guys taking shots. And then the thing he said to Paul George, running away from that grind. What an insult. Telling Paul George, I'm just here doing work. You just keep running away from that grind. That's like the ultimate NBA insult. When the going gets tough, you get going to your next team. I stay here in my team and we're winning. I loved it. I'm all in on Dame in Portland.
I loved it because he went at Paul George. All right, because we're going to do a little Paul George history lesson here.
Yeah.
And we all know Paul George is an incredibly talented guy. Everybody would want him. You give him max money. I don't ever like to say about anybody that person's incapable of winning a title because I think it's very dismissive. I think it's easy to say, and the odds are in your favor to say that because it is that hard to win a title. And look, he may win one this year, but it's going to be Kawhi. This dude hasn't been out of the first round since 2014. Let's go backwards. Lost in the first round of Portland last year, by the way. Who put him away? Lillard, that jumper, and George, although it wasn't, but he's like, well, it's a bad shot.
It's a bad shot. I don't care what anybody says. That's a bad shot.
And if you go over the record of George's quotes at times about some things, you're like, what are you talking about? All right. So they lose in the first round of Portland. He did put up some big numbers. Lost in the first round of Utah. Game 6, he played 45 minutes. He and Westbrook lost to Utah, who really only had Donovan Mitchell as a scorer. As a rookie. And Paul George in game 6, 45 minutes, 5 points, 2 of 16, 3 boards. Okay.
Wasn't he hurt? Or like a little bit hurt? I think he was a tiny bit hurt.
Actually, I forgot that rule was passed a couple years ago that anybody that has like 30 in game 6 and then has less games in game 7, it's because they were hurt somewhere.
Fair.
So like, hey, I was tired. You're averaging 38 a game. Yeah,
you were out there.
Right, that's exactly when I got tired, though, was the next one. All right,
yeah,
so
you were out.
2017, swept in the first round against Cleveland. Game 4 elimination game, 15 points, 5 of 21. He fell down on the last possession. I'm not going to knock him for not tying or hitting a game-tying 3 in game 4. 2016, they lost in 7 games to Toronto.
To the Raptors.
Right. He had 26, but he finished the game 2 of 8. He had a turnover, then missed a 3. And then after the game said, hey, I'm really tired. So there you go. And he's like, I'm not Superman. Eastern Conference Finals, 2014, he put up big numbers. Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7, 2013, he had 7 points in Game 7. 2013, first round, Game 6. It was a clinching game the same year, but he had 4 points against Atlanta. I'm not going to use 12 and 11 against him because in 11, he was the 7th leading scorer on the Pacers, and 12, he was the 4th leading scorer. Here's the lesson in this. If you're going to come at Dame Lillard, have a slightly better playoff resume than what I just read you. You haven't been out of the first round since 2014, and there is a trend that you disappear in some of these massive games throughout your playoff career. He's an extremely talented guy, but Dame, who doesn't exactly have a massive playoff resume himself, is the guy that eliminated it last year and at least shows up in some of these massive games.